Running a business isn't easy. Nothing worth doing ever is. Creating something people actually want, really, really hard. Becoming a household name and a darling of Wall Street, practically impossible. And the better you are at it, the harder it gets. That's when running a business stops just being hard and starts getting complicated. There will be problems. You won't call them problems, you'll call them challenges, but they're problems. And to fix those problems, you'll implement a process, which will also become a problem. But what if we decided that what we really need isn't a new process, but a new way to run business, built on the idea that sophisticated technology doesn't have to be complicated technology? What if we made everything run, well, simple? Run without worry, run without confusion, run without distraction, run without crossed wires, mixed signals, or any of the needless complexity that makes business even harder than it's always been. When you simplify everything, you can do anything. You just need to run simple. Running simple is finding answers in seconds, not days. Running simple is seeing what everyone else has missed. Running simple unlocks the value hidden in your data. Running simple transforms your business into a true real-time enterprise. And when you run simple, you can run anything. Run SAP and run simple.
Good afternoon, Taiwan. Happy to be here. My name is Lars. I'm living in Singapore, and today I want to talk a little bit about mobility and what SAP is doing in mobility, how we help companies to run more simple in mobility, and a little bit of how that actually works. But I want to actually take a step back. So in the morning we have heard a lot about technology and how technology helps us to make this happen. Technology obviously is a very important factor when we look at mobility and how you run a certain business. But I want to take a step back and look at what is actually required from a business perspective as well in order to actually run simple, utilize mobility, and make the whole thing safe as well for you, your employees, and everyone is basically participating in the whole mobility ecosystem, which many companies are obviously trying to build. Now, one of the things which you would hear every day when you go through your daily lives is basically one of these buzzwords, which are out there literally everywhere. You hear big data, you hear mobility, you hear social media, and obviously cloud, which is our topic today. But when we look at mobile, what does mobile actually mean for us? What does mobile actually mean for you as an employee or for your customer? For your organization, what does it actually mean? Well, it means mobilizing an application, mobilizing a business process, be it through Internet of Things, be it through a mobile iPhone application, BlackBerry application, any kind of mobile application. And why do we actually want to mobilize something? Why is it so important to mobilize a certain process or a certain thing? Because it brings new context to actual data. If there is an insurance sales agent who's going out and selling insurance policies, if this person could be equipped with data for the point of decision to put in front of his customer, then it's some data you can provide him on his mobile device at the spot, at the right time, for the customer to benefit from the data. Same if you're a CFO or in the board of directors and you need to prepare a certain business case for a presentation. If you have access to the data at the point where you actually need it, you can suddenly make decisions in a much faster way. The second thing here, big data. What does big data actually mean as well? We hear it every time. How can we actually quantify big data? Every organization I'm talking to, they have collected terabytes of data, 20, 30, 40, 50 years back. CRM data, ERP data, invoice data or tickets complaints from certain individuals. If we can take all this data now together, use analytics to find certain interferences with this data, certain fluctuations of this data. We can again provide this data at the point of interest. If for an insurance sales agent, you can provide the data that 30% of people over 30 who are married with 2 kids would purchase a certain life insurance policy, when you put certain arguments in front of him, then this is data you can actually use for your organization, for your customers to service them better, and for you, obviously, to bring your products to the customer, to your employees. So big data is very important, actually, to make the whole thing work. Social. We have heard this many times. We're using social today to research certain things. We're using social data to communicate with each other. So social data becomes a major point, a turning point in everyone's daily life, basically. So if we can work around the social aspect of data as well, it becomes obviously quite interesting. And if we can take this into consideration for our products, for our processes, we suddenly have a very strong selling point as well. And last but not least, cloud. We see more than 4.4% or over 4% growth in our cloud products and the uptake of our cloud subscriptions, actually. So there is a massive subscription wave happening in cloud for everyone's software. Cloud as a computing model becomes a very nice and scalable model companies and organizations want to go to, because obviously it's much easier to maintain, easier to sustain, and easier to subscribe to as well. Today, when you need a certain service, you can simply subscribe for the service, consume the service within the cloud without actually having to set it up, procuring hardware, go through security screens and security concerns. You can simply start utilizing the actual application you want to be utilizing. I want to take you through a small process. Just imagine you're working for an organization. It can be a big organization, it can be a really small organization, it doesn't actually matter. Because every organization substantially has very similar issues and similar problems. So if you look at the standard organization of what organizations want to implement, the first thing is they want to simplify processes. Processes their employees are utilizing every single day. I will pick a process which everyone is very well aware of. It's a vacation request process. And I'm sure every one of you is filling vacation request processes at least a couple of times per year. So we had an organization who was struggling with vacation processes. It costed them $120,000 a year. They had to fill a form. The form was sent to the direct manager, and then the manager would forward it to the HR department back in Europe. The whole process with printing the papers, distributing the papers and everything costed them $120,000. So they started underlining this with a mobile application in a day or two. It's very simple. But they could actually get rid of $120,000 and the whole process associated with it. And this actually shows the power. If we look at a certain process, we simplify this process, we can suddenly increase productivity. We can suddenly reduce cost and operational overhead. And if we can beautify it, make it even prettier to use for someone, for an employee, or for one of your customers to book an appointment with you as a car dealer, for example, if we can beautify this process, suddenly we are in a situation where people like to make business with us, where people don't have to go through certain hurdles to actually get to you. If you can book an appointment to service your car within a minute or two without having to call and wait in line and everything, it's something you would appreciate, something your customer would appreciate. And the last step in the journey of mobility really is innovation. Innovation is when we can take into consideration all this knowledge our organization has and use it to actually make decisions. You have big data. You can bring this big data to the point of interaction. So once again, if there's a sales agent in front of the customer, if you can provide the right data for the customer to make a decision, to really inform the customer about the authenticity of the products and the offering he has, if you can do this on the spot, it's a benefit again for the customer because he can research it well, and if it's a benefit for your organization because you can bring decision-ready data to your customer. And this can innovate a standard and classical business process. So there are 3 steps we go through. 3 steps of actually making this happen. The first one is simply extending an existing system. It can be through a cloud subscription, where you take a simple process, as indicated before, a process which you already had, and you simply extend this to a mobile device. Very simple. The next one, it gets a little more complicated, actually, because you're trying to actually accelerate this process. You have so much data in your backend system, which you can actually utilize to make decisions automatically. You don't need to always rely on manual interaction in a certain process. You can run through a certain process automatically, so you can accelerate a process which historically took an hour or 2, or maybe a day or 3. You can make it in 5 minutes, in 1 minute. You can accelerate processes as well. And then this can really transform you actually doing historically business with your customers, the way you engage with your customers. Social media segmentation. If someone complains about your products, you might be able actually to pick that up, to understand that someone actually complained about your products. You can utilize this data again. So when your sales agent visits this customer the next time who complained, he can get it in front of him on his iPad, and he can see that customer ABC tweeted last week that one of your products wasn't as good as expected. So you can react on this. Increase customer service, customer satisfaction, which again might increase your bottom line, might increase productivity. And that's not just for your customers. Again, it can also be for employees internally. Before someone can actually book a vacation, you can automatically align this with the calendar of everyone, or the team calendar he's utilizing. So you know the manager doesn't have to look anymore if he can actually approve a certain vacation request. The system can approve it automatically because you do have all this data. And we have seen this all morning. Internet of Things is there. There is so much data today. The issue is, A, using this data, and then really securing this data. Now, as we've seen, the scale is increasing. There's so many more touch points which we actually need to manage. It's mobile devices on one hand, iPhones, BlackBerry, Android, different devices out there. There's Internet of Things. So the touch points are really increasing. Also, the data we feed into it is substantially increasing. And the more data we put in there, the more systems we connect in the backend to mobilize, to bring to our employees, to bring to our customers, the more complex it obviously becomes to manage this. So when we put this in front of our customers, and we are talking to a lot of big organizations, and we make a 5-year mobility and security roadmap with them, we ask them, where are you today? Where do you have your challenges? And where do you want to be in 5 years? What is your vision of customer service in 5 years? What is your vision in terms of products in 5 years? We have a conversation with them. And after this, 77% of the IT guys we are talking to say, wow, that sounds fantastic. But how can we actually secure this? How can we manage integration to all these different backend systems, secure the integration? How can we secure the endpoints, the Internet of Things? How can we secure the mobile devices? So you have all these endpoints. Employers bringing even more endpoints into it. Bring your own device, as we have heard. There's so many terms out there of increasing endpoints. The issue is that as of now, when we talk to an organization, and that's verified by a lot of industry analysts as well, there's not so much understanding of how we actually secure this. How can we create a policy to secure these devices, these endpoints, the data? And not only that, it's not just securing the data, it's also getting the data from one backend system to one mobile device. Getting it from 2 backend systems to 20, to 1,000, to 10,000 mobile devices. So the more we actually increase the scale, the more complex it actually becomes to manage such a deployment. And this is where cloud can help as well, to actually leverage this and take away a certain complexity to actually make this happen. Assuming you can suddenly implement an application for your employees for one line of business, which is 20 users maybe, or 30 users. So in the past, you had to set up a mobile application platform, or you would go to Apple, Xcode, and write an application and connect it to your backend system. You would do it for 20 users, you would do it for 100 users. It's fine for one application. It becomes a challenge if you want to do this for 2, 3, 5, 10, 20 applications. But with cloud, you actually have the choice. You can subscribe, pay as you go, for 100 mobile users, not only to create an application for 100 mobile users for one line of business, but also manage this application for 100 mobile users, roll it out for 100 mobile users, and if there's a second department next week who wants to have a mobile application, you can again subscribe for another 20 users, 30 users, 1 million users, 10 million users. And governments today, utilizing this model to actually grow, they start using it internally, they start using it externally, and they find a way of actually scaling their deployments of mobility through a consolidated platform, which helps you to really manage the risk, because all strings are centralized in one point, in the cloud platform. So is there a risk by having all this data on mobile devices? When you run around, let's assume the sales agent who I just talked about is selling insurance policies, when he's carrying the underwriting process on his mobile device, when he's carrying customer data on his mobile device, is there a risk? Well, obviously, there is a risk. And why is it actually a risk? Why wasn't the risk there before, a couple of years back? And we all know the answer. A couple of years back, a desktop PC was connected to a station. You couldn't really take it out. There was not really mobile usage. So the data remained on premises. Today, the buying cycle is entirely different. The buying cycle entirely changed. People can bring mobile devices every time. Just yesterday, I was at Changi Airport and saw the Samsung S6 Edge. It's a really nice and slick device. So I actually picked up one, and I'm using it now. And I'm connecting to our SAP email system. I'm receiving my emails on a new system. I have our go-to-sales application on the new device. Can our IT manage it? Yes, they can. As soon as I log in, I get a push with a security application on my device. The device is controlled, the device is encrypted, and it doesn't matter if it's my personal-owned device or if it's a corporate-owned device. But the way we actually bring new devices to our organization, we connect different devices to organization, has substantially changed in the past. It's much faster. The buying cycle is much faster. The applications and devices we bring to our customers, to our employees, has rapidly changed. But that means we need to change the platform as well. The platform really needs to be scalable to actually be able to keep up with the speed of business applications, with the speed of how an organization wants to bring out applications to their users, to their customers as well. So one of the things which many organizations are actually doing is to actually lock down the device. And we have seen this. So we're talking to a couple of organizations who say, well, great, we have managed security really well for our Internet of Things, for our sensor network. We have managed it really well for other corporate applications. We have locked it down. They have a VPN tunnel on the application to make sure no one can access the actual data on the fly. They have encrypted the data on the mobile device as well. So if the device gets lost or stolen in a taxi, no one has access to this data as well. The problem here, though, is we can do it very secure. And corporates have realized this. You can secure your data easily. And it was said as well, encryption is the easy part. You can encrypt it, you can encrypt the tunnel. But what always suffers is really the usability of your actual application. And there was a study that actually 61% of the Fortune 500 companies have deployed at least 3 mobile applications. 3 mobile applications to help their employees internally to run more efficient. Different mobile applications. The problem was, though, that 43% actually abandoned working with those applications in the first week. They have not used the application they were given to use. And they haven't used those applications because it's too complicated to use this. And the other 26%, they actually lost productivity. So instead of filing a vacation request, which takes you 5 minutes, they had to sign into the application, which takes 5 minutes, and then fill the form, which takes another 5 minutes. So it took them 10 minutes to actually lose productivity by utilizing an application. So is there a productivity gain? There is no productivity gain. So when we talk about mobilizing applications, it is very, very easy and simply set of how this can be done. There's so many frameworks out there to secure applications, to create applications, to roll out applications. But if you can't maintain the actual process to secure an application, it will not work and it will not give you the actual benefits you were expecting from your mobile strategy in your organization. So if the process is signing in, creating a VPN tunnel, opening the application, signing into the application, and making it complex for the user, again, productivity will go down. No one will use the application. If you want to give your customers an application to book an appointment, and it takes them 20 minutes to book an appointment because the network is slow, your server is not responding, the customers won't use it. You have an application out there, but no one will actually use it. Customers expect an experience, employees expect an experience, which is much faster, which they can actually use every day in a split second, do what they want to do at the time, anywhere where they are, and get the data they actually want to have or they actually need at this specific point in time. So again, cloud gives us this flexibility today to make this happen, to create an application for your organization, connect to different backend systems, harness the data you have stored in the different backend systems, and putting it to the endpoint, to the mobile device, for the user at the right time to make a decision with the data you have in your backend system. Again, if your insurance sales agent can put in front of you what you as an individual actually need at this specific point in time, there is a good chance that you would buy this product. And companies have this data. Customers know what is happening. They just don't use this data. And if at the same time when you can create the mobile application, find a way to actually secure this mobile application with the same stream, with the same connectivity mechanisms you have in the backend system, in the cloud, you can reduce the time you would actually need to make this happen. And if you can do this, you can really harness of what mobility is about. So the whole life cycle of creating applications, securing applications, rolling out applications becomes very natural. It becomes easily consumable for an organization because you don't need to set up the whole infrastructure, the different connectors, the different ways of securing applications, creating an iPhone application, creating a BlackBerry application. You can create a single application which is available on each and every mobile device. You can roll it out to every user on every mobile device through different networks and secure this application from within the same platform. So really, the key evaluations when you go, or an organization today is going through, and where we advise organizations in terms of cloud and security, and mobility as well as part of it, because it's a process. The first step really, the IT and development process needs to be streamlined. You cannot create an application on different platforms, have different teams supporting it, have different deployment models for this. It just creates complexity, and you will not be able to roll this out on a large scale. You can do it with 5 or 10 applications, but if you really want to get an productivity gain, you might need more, and it needs to be centralized. So it needs to be streamlined. And again, cloud actually allows you to streamline this in a very nice and beautiful way, and in a scalable way. You can start again with one department, 20 users. You can do 30 users, 1,000, 10,000 users. And the subscription model, it's a very easy way to actually get to it and start with it. The next one, the user experience. If you provide your customers and your employees a mobile application, you better make sure it looks the same in each and every application. Nothing is more confusing for a business user than relearning every time what he wants to do to get somewhere. If the process is different in each and every application you are giving them, and you mean to help them, again, chances are that you're just increasing complexity. And that's not what you want. So you need to streamline the way you actually roll out mobile applications to your users. Streamline the way you secure this. Pre-package it. Pre-encrypt it. Pre-configure the data which comes with the application. What points to the server, the IP of the application. If you can pre-configure this, again, you can streamline the way of actually how you roll out this application to a user. And then really the last thing, if you can put that in a scalable cloud model, in a high-speed cloud model, you can not only provide mobile applications in a streamlined way, secure them in a streamlined way, but you can also connect it to all these different backend systems, third-party backend systems, third-party databases, third-party data in general. Connect all these different systems you already have, every organization has. Create meaning out of the data which you have in your backend systems already and put it to the point of decision, to the person who actually needs this data. And if you can make this happen in a scalable way on the cloud, then you can not only increase productivity, but at the same time, you can actually increase customer satisfaction, you can save time for your employees, and you can create a better user, a more secure user experience for your employees in general. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Droste, for joining us in the afternoon.